well, yeah, I wish they had.
Good evening and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen workshop. We're going to start off with a citizens forum. It is 6:30 p.m. We do have one person signed up. When you are called up, please come up to the podium, state your name and address, and then you will have 3 minutes to speak. We have one person signed up, and that is Carol Haas.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Aldermen. I'm Carol Haas. I live at 455 Cedar Park Circle, Laverne, Tennessee, 37086. First off, I would like to thank the Parks and Rec Department for the awesome job they did on the dog park. And then the grand opening was a success. Every time I drive by it on Stones River, I see fur babies out, and it just makes me smile, especially the big ones being able to run in a big yard when they're stuck in a house or a small fenced-in yard. Secondly, I'd like to promote my chair massage event, meet and greet. That is this Saturday, September 3rd from 1 to 4 at the Multipurpose Building. Chair massages will be provided by Tab and Ross Howard from Fresh Start Massage and will be for donations. Also, there will be light snacks and refreshments. So I'd like to invite everyone to attend. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving into our agenda, the prayer Tuesday night will be with Alderman Waldron. The Pledge of Allegiance will be with Alderwoman Honeycutt. Everyone should have a copy of the minutes from the August 2nd, 2022 regular meeting. We will have Tuesday evening a certificate ceremony for our former elected officials, a proclamation declaring the city of Laverne a Purple Heart City. And then moving on, we now have the fire department badge pinning ceremony.
Good evening. I'd like to take the opportunity. We have two new firefighters joining our team this month. Mr. Colin Ryam, his name is Stephen, but I learned tonight he actually likes to go by Colin. And then Brian Tittner. So if I could get both of y'all to come up. Colin's a young firefighter. He comes to us as a credentialed firefighter, firefighter 1, firefighter 2, and an EMT license, and we are going to lean heavily on his youth and his zeal to have a positive attitude. And we also have Brian is a veteran firefighter, and we're going to look to him for some leadership as a senior firefighter and teach younger firefighters how to be older firefighters. So if you would, I'm going to start with you, and your father's going to, correct?
Yes,
Pin
sir.
your badge.
Yes, sir.
And, sir. His father is also Stephen. Do you go by Colin as well? No. All right, sir.
Make sure, you know. Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right, our second firefighter is Brian. His son Jackson is going to have the honor of pinning the badge. Jackson, you want to be a firefighter when you get to that age?
No, sir, I want to go to the Air Force.
Air Force. Outstanding.
That's good.
When you've drawn blood, it's good.
When you see the blood, let it go.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to read you the oath. And remember, when I say I, you'll state your name. Somehow we mess that up every single time. All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
I
Brian Pinner. Stephen Ryan.
do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute my duties as a firefighter
to faithfully execute my duties as a firefighter
to the city of Laverne,
to the city of Vergne,
and will to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
to preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and the laws of the United States
the Constitution and the laws of the United States
and of this state and the charter and ordinance of this city.
and to the state and the charter and the ordinance of this city.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Next, we're going to have a certificate of recognition. And so we've made it a point to recognize our up-and-coming generations as to all their accomplishments and what they're doing. So, Mr. Zachary Cartwright, can you join us? Guys, let's welcome him. Come on. Welcome, welcome. Let's go ahead and invite the family on up. So, famous Cartwright family. So, this is the City of Laverne Certificate of Recognition, and it is hereby granted to Zachary Cartwright for being named the Rutherford County Middle School Player of the Week. We hope you continue your dedication, or we hope you continue to dedicate yourself to your schoolwork and your football training as you progress in your academic career. Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Now, hold on before y'all leave. Coach, come on up. And it's so we also, beyond just recognize this exceptional young man, we also want to recognize the team because we just had a victory. Is that right, Coach?
Yes, sir.
So talk to us a little bit about that. And guys, where are y'all? Y'all come on over. Yes.
That's a big middle school. It's a big middle school.
Well, I didn't expect to come and say anything, because I really, it's all about the kids, it's all about the parents, and you all, the community, it's all about y'all. I just thank God for just even having us in here. I thank Mayor Cole for even letting us take the time to come. These are excellent young men here. We got great parents. This is one of the best communities in Rutherford County. We're looking to bring a championship back here because I truly believe the best athletes come out of Laverne, Tennessee. And these young men that you see, they won their first game. It was, look, she's on. That's Miss Hyde right there. That's her son back here. He's one of the offensive linemen for Mr. Cartwright. So he helps move the herd out of the way. And we won Tuesday. We won 44-14. So, and we got 3 touchdowns called back, and there shouldn't have been. So it really was like 60-something to 14. But that's not me boasting and bragging. It's just me lifting up these young men because I can coach and I can scream and I can yell, but they're the ones playing. So I thank God and I thank them. So thank y'all for having us tonight. Thank you.
Again, these guys are absolutely phenomenal out on the field. If you haven't had a chance to see them, you should. And if you do see them win, hopefully we get to see the Cartwright Shuffle. The victory shuffle that we saw during the Little League games. So, but let's give them another round of applause, everybody.
Good job, Coach. Mr. Mayor, I've known that Cartwright family since that little boy was in his mommy's belly. Way past that.
I heard they knew you back when you had hair.
They did. Yeah, I've known them a long time.
Okay, moving on, we are going to have departmental reports on Tuesday, and then we will have the second reading for old business ordinance 2022-19, an ordinance to amend the fee schedule regarding sewer rates for the Blair Road Sewer Basin. Does anyone have any questions on this? Seeing none, moving on to the consent agenda. First items approved, city bids and purchases. First, we have the Fire Station 41 bid. You should all have a copy of that here in front of you. It's a short read.
Did Ronnie come up with this?
No, this was through John. John, do you want to come up and walk us through page by page?
60 pages. So we had a bid opening yesterday at 2 p.m. We had 4 bidders collect plans and 4 bids turned in. The low bid was Fellowship Construction, and the high bid on page 2 is a whole bid tab, and that shows all of who bid, all the documents they turned in, the bids as far as base bid for the fire station and the site, and then there's a regional drainage part of that, and then the add alternates that we had included in the documentation. So really this bid covers 2 projects. It covers the fire station and the surrounding site, and then it covers a regional drainage area behind the site that goes down kind of underneath the TVA easement through that direction. So there's really two projects included in one. The low bid was Fellowship Construction with $9,735,578, and then out of that, all the bids came in to a point where, let me grab my notes. All bids were intended to include a 10% contingency in the bid price. And when you remove that and just do the fire station base bids, every one of these stations came in at under $375 a square foot, which was our bid number that we talked about, all this time ago. So low bid came in at $343 a square foot for the station, and the highest bid was $373 a square foot for the station. All total, there was a difference between $757,000 between the highest and low bidders. So I think we have some good coverage and pretty clear numbers to go with that. There's one caveat to the low bid. The low bidder did immediately after the bid opening came back to us and said they did not include the owner's 10% contingency in their bid price. So typically you can't change anything after the bid has been opened. So it will be up to y'all in the city to determine whether to keep that low bidder as is or to reject that bidder and to go with bid number 2. Bid number 2, lowest one, was Romac. And the difference between the 2 bids, if you take all of the add alternates, is $217,000. Add alternate number 3 is being deleted. So really, the department would like to take add alternate 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. If you would like me to, I can go over each of those add alternates. Or if you have any questions, I'm perfectly happy to answer questions. Did I miss anything? Or okay.
I know we discussed those at the planning retreat, but does anyone need to go through those? Whether it's windows, doors, those sort of things. Does anyone need that?
Yeah, the biggest add alternate was add alternate number 1. And that would be the 4-fold operable doors and the egress side of the station as opposed to the coiling roll-up doors. The major purpose for that is they have better wind resistance, they have a better long-term maintenance, and in times of emergency, if like a spring breaks or the power goes out, you can physically push them open as opposed to trying to take a chain and hoist that door up and really delay response time. And that was the largest of the add alternates. The contingency is meant to be used at the owner's discretion. So in this case, the contingency could be used to accept all alternates if you decide to do that. And so that's what that is. And you'll notice on the rest of this pages is every form that was turned in the bid packets. So it includes their bid bonds, it includes workplace drug-free affidavits, and so all those different forms that should be required.
And Fellowship, you're familiar with them? I think they did a school somewhere in Rutherford County?
Yes, one of the most recent schools they did for us was in Williamson County, and it was a 20,000 square foot addition, if I remember correctly. One of my business partners worked with Fellowship on that one. They did a fine job. So.
Are you familiar with some of these, Kyle?
Not on these, I'm not, but like I say, John's dealt with all of them, so I'm comfortable with all of them.
Well, after the little special meeting we just had, I just want to make sure. Evan, am I overreacting?
No, sir. I don't think so.
No.
And one thing I might like to point out is that the major subcontractors that you will notice are listed on the front page of each of these bids were pretty much all the same. So there was only one different grading contractor. So out of the four, there was one different grading contractor. There was one different masonry contractor. And I believe there was one different mechanical contractor. So they each had a variation of three of the same contractors and one different major contractor.
So you're familiar with all four of these?
Yes. Any of them would do a fine job.
And that's what I was going to ask you was all four of them,
Yeah, any of them would do a fine job.
the biggest difference being the windows type things and
Well, with the windows, we add alternate number 3 is a different type of window in lieu of an aluminum storefront system. In order to think ahead of possible lead times or availability of aluminum, we said, okay, let's try a commercial fiberglass window instead. So as a way not to hold up the construction project as it was moving forward. All the aluminum bids came in fine, and I don't see a need to actually add alternate number 3. So, and then because everything, I mean, the building is incredibly functional just the way it is under the base bid, and then all the add alternates would be additional items that would make the station, in one case for the doors, better in an emergency type of, if something were to go wrong. Like because those doors are easier to operate in if they lose power or tornado or something like that.
Okay.
One thing I just want to point out is still that 10% that they left off, they did, and I think it's in your packet. Did you include the letter that they sent?
Yes.
There's
The
a
letter at
letter
the
in
very, there's a letter at the very end of this.
And it's basically where they stated that they left the 10% off on the contingency from their bid. Now, they are requesting to withdraw their bid. However, that's why you have a bid bond.
Right.
They've put this bid in. It seems to be a good bid. As far as the 10% and the numbers, we've discussed that a lot today, and we will continue to discuss with Evan to see if anything can be changed or not, but we will definitely have a recommendation for you, whether it be going with the low bidder or not. And if you go with a low bidder and they're not willing to honor their bid, that's what your bid bond is for, and that is 5% of the. Yeah, it's 5% of the bid amount. So that's roughly $486,000. Now, that 10% contingency, of course, is 970,000, so
Yeah.
you look at the difference of the two, but we've got to get that worked out. And like I say, we just want to make sure you're aware of that whenever they got the bid, and I think whenever they seen the numbers, basically, they realized that they made a mistake.
And when another thing happened that, so two of these contractors had accounting errors in their actual spreadsheet. So one contractor, right before, as the bids are turned in, what you can do, added a $490,000 add to the front of their bid document. You can see that in the whole set of documents here. And so I talked to that contractor afterward, and basically they had, yet again, an accounting error in their spreadsheet system. So they had a negative number for a line item. And so that dropped the price down much lower. And so to get that, so they would be theoretically eating $250,000 worth of cost. So they had to add $490 to it in order to get it back to zero, and then to actually put the cost in for the actual materials. So that had just happened also to that. So I think that may have also kind of played a little bit of panic in the lower low bidder.
Okay.
Just talk about the lowest bidder on the ad alternative number 3 was the highest. Is there a reason for that? It sort of sticks out somewhat.
Number 3.
Yeah.
We're not recommending ad alternate 3.
Okay, well, I'm just,
I have no idea, because that entire list of things is just completely wild. So one's 30, one's negative 60, then you have that one at 90. That is just, I'm not sure why ad alternate number 3 is like that.
Yeah.
I have no idea why. So it could be that the second bidder, W.A. O'Neill, they could have had a super high number for, let's say, aluminum storefront doors and something, and that number actually was, in that particular case, the fiberglass would have been cheaper. But everyone else would, obviously was much more expensive, so.
Lots of heads turned during the opening, every time you would read alternate number 3, especially when it was a negative $59,000.
Yeah, that one was bizarre across the board.
my other question is that there are, on the bond companies,
Yes.
there's, of the 4, they're using 2 of each, so there's 2 bond companies. Do you know those companies very well? I mean, are they?
Oh, we were going back to the office today, and we have, in recent memory, have not had to have a bid bond pulled from any client. And the bonding companies, I have not had any experience with their actual payout, if that's the question you're asking.
I have to say, this is the first big bids that I've personally seen that the differences are not just astronomical. They're at least very compatible, so I like that.
They're very tight, yes.
It was a competitive bid.
Very competitive. Yeah, because usually it's $10 million one way or the other.
So my other question is, on the present low bidder, what product have they built recently locally?
Oh, I could get you a list of that, I'm sure.
Well, I'm intrigued to know what that is, just to see, you know, what they've done.
Like I said, the last thing they built with us was and I think it finished up 2 years ago. It was like I said, about a 20,000 square foot elementary school addition. It was 2 stories, if I remember correctly, on a very steep, very complex site in Williamson County.
Okay.
And I know they've built more since then, but that's the last project that we've had.
And going to the drainage issue, the sinkhole adjacent to Stonesville Road fills up very quickly during a flood. So with this package, or the add-on, or part of it, is that going to help that situation?
Yes. See, I was not part of the design of that, but there are 4 sinkholes in that area, and the remediation is of all 4 of those sinkholes. So yes, that should help all of that.
So then what you're saying is the fire station should not get flooded?
Right. Right.
Thank you
Right.
very much.
Right. Right.
That's something we've been working on, both that area as well as further back on Jefferson Pike. There's two different areas, this one and one other one that we're working on to help improve stormwater as a whole throughout that area, because that area experiences a lot of flooding during big storms. Any other questions?
So we come back in here Tuesday to vote on this?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And you'll make, staff will make a recommendation?
Yes, basically, this is a recommendation right now, is to go with the low bidder. If anything changes between now and Tuesday night, of course, we'll get it out as soon as possible to let y'all know. But you'll definitely have a recommendation Tuesday night of what we recommend.
And I may say, if I may say this additional, I've talked to the contractor, and if you would like to speak to him, he's perfectly happy to come Monday.
So then my other question is before Tuesday night, the present low bidder, we will know whether he wants to stay in the bid or wants to be removed at that point in time?
Well, that's why I definitely wanted to point that out, because if you go with a low bid, that's what the bid bond is for. They have got to enter into a contract with us. They bid, that's what the bid bond's for. If they choose not to enter into a contract with us, then we can make a claim on the bid bond for 5% of the bid that they would pay us. If this board chooses not to accept the low bid, then the way I read the bid bond is, and I'll have to double check this with Evan, but the way I read it is that they basically are out of it and out of that requirement because we did not choose their bid. So, if you're concerned with, hey, they made a error and we don't want to end up in a situation like what you've got on the other item on the agenda, then you may want to take that into consideration and say, hey, we want to go with the second bidder. However, I know John has had conversation with the contractor numerous times to this point, and I feel like they can do the project with that amount. It's just that there's a few caveats that we're going to have to work out, because it's worded in the bid right now that if you, on that 10% contingency, if there's no change orders, then they owe that money back to the project or back to the city at the end of the thing. So that's $970,000, and if they have to do that,
You'll make
then
them go broke and ruin them.
they can't do it. So that is one of the things we're looking at to see what ability we have to go with a low bidder or not. Because like I say, the 10% is something that has got to be worked out.
Yes, and now, in the invitation to bidders, I would like to point this out. There is a clause, in the instructions to bidders. There's a clause under paragraph 5.3.1, and it basically says, unless otherwise prohibited by law, the owner shall have the right to waive informalities and irregularities in a bid received and to accept the bid which, in the owner's judgment, is in the owner's best interests. So you could recognize that they left out this line item and then figure out a way of going, okay, well, the building is still constructible for $9,300,000, and we'll figure out what this line, how to deal with this line item at the end of that. So you do have that in this contract where you can work with that paragraph.
And I would say, we would have already worked this out with Evan and even told him about this, because he's probably like, I've not heard anything about this yet, barely. But we just opened the bid yesterday, and we've been going through this ourselves today, trying to even figure out where we are with it. So we will definitely work with Evan in the next few days that we have to make sure you've got a recommendation Tuesday night.
With that being said, my comment would be is don't rush it. For me, to wait another 30 days to get it all ironed out, if that what needs to be, would make sense. Just a comment. But that's up to you guys.
Yeah, like I say, we'll let you know Tuesday night one way or the other if we're comfortable with what we've worked out or figured out by that point.
Thank you, John.
You're very welcome.
Moving on to number 2, bid industrial boulevard sewer expansion. This is the industrial boulevard sewer expansion project. The low bid came back with Isengard Construction Group at 1.54, and John with CTI is here, and he can talk to us more about that.
Good evening, all. Yes, we had 2 bids that we received on August 25th. One was for Isengard Construction Group Incorporated, and the other was from Norris Brothers Excavating LLC. The low bidder was Isengard Construction Group Incorporated. Bid price was $1,540,026. It did come in a little bit higher than what we had estimated, but as we've seen, construction prices and everything have been elevating fast in this area, as probably all over state. So we do recommend that this project do be awarded to Isengard. We've checked their references, and they do come, they're very well regarded. They've done some good work in this area. We've not had any experience with them personally, but the references that we did contact, they spoke highly of them.
Anyone have any questions? I know time frame with this project is a big deal, and we've had some conversations with them. I know whenever they were here, we talked to them, but they're fine with all of that.
I believe we can, yeah, they're fine with making it work. I mean, material's a problem, getting the pipes. So, but, they should be able to get it done.
And when does the pump come in?
It still would be, I'm thinking, middle to end of November, I think.
It's November,
Somewhere around
December,
in there.
somewhere.
Does anyone have any other questions? Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Moving on to number 3, state contract purchase truck for the street department. This is for a new truck for the streets department. Earlier this month, our street truck was involved in an accident. The employee was fine, but the insurance decided to total the vehicle out. So the city needs to purchase a replacement vehicle. So this would be through the state contract and ordered from Ford of Murfreesboro. Does anyone have any questions?
How long will that take to get?
At least a day or two, maybe more.
That's it?
No, that's sarcasm. At
I was
least.
gonna say.
At least. But no, it's, I'm not sure if they have it on site or not. Andrew's telling me no, they don't, but we'll see about getting that. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to state contract purchase, 2 trucks for the fire department. The fire department's requesting to purchase trucks through the state contract. It's 2 of them, and they will be through Ford of Murfreesboro again. They are fast attack units, and this is a budgeted item, so this is something we discussed at the planning retreat. Does anyone have any questions? Chief, they give you a time frame when it's coming in?
Yes.
See, I wasn't gonna ask.
I knew it was rattling around in your head.
One day, maybe 2 or more.
Chief, as these trucks come, are they just frame and chassis?
It'll
Or they
just be,
would
it'll
buy-
be sir?
But frame and chassis, or they complete trucks?
It'll be just a pickup truck. We'll still have to put a camper shell on it, lights, radios. They will not be equipped.
Yeah, they're F-150s.
That is correct.
Any other questions? Moving on to number 5, GSA Contract Purchase, personal protective equipment for the fire department. This is basically PPE items for 5 newly hired firefighters and then 10 replacement sets of gear that were included in the budget. And does anyone have any questions about this? Seeing none, moving on to number 6, we've got the Sourcewell contract purchase for the tennis court lighting. And so this is for the tennis court at Veterans Memorial Park. It is upgrading those lights to LEDs. And the total price was $79,513. We'd budgeted $70,000 for the upgrade. So the item number 7 later on in our agenda addresses that $9,600. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to number 7, sole source purchase, Morpho Ident fingerprint devices for the police department. This is something we discussed last month. We didn't have everything worked out, so it was moved to this month. This is for 15 of these devices, or at least that's what was approved in the budget this year. And the police department currently has 3 of these, so there's a grant that helps as well. Chief, do you want to talk any about these? How you use them? This way people know kind of what we're purchasing.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman, the monthly ident devices, I don't know if you remember, I had the small handheld device that could be used in the field that basically serve as a mobile fingerprint machine. Right now it's used for people who want to conceal their identity and not tell us who their identity is. Also could be used for unidentified bodies that we may find and different things like that. So it's just a tool in the field that officers can use without having to bring somebody here to the station. We do currently have 3, which is still, there's a definite need. We have specialized units that don't have them, as well as patrol. So that's why I wanted to expand to have more out in the field. Questions?
Any questions on this? Wonderful. Thank you, Chief. Moving on to number 8, purchase bulk de-icing road salt for the street department. This is through Compass Minerals, and this is basically $99.03 per ton. You're looking at anywhere from 125 to 250 tons. 250 would be a full load, but the first half of this will be delivered no later than the 31st of December. We purchase salt every year. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to B, approve change order number 1, Public Works and Community Development Services Facility Site Work. And this is, just as it sounds, change order number 1. Let's see here. This was, it's the request to address additional cuts to fill volume introduced in the project after the revisions. Additional volume is estimated about 6,500 CYs. This change covers all costs with markup to move and place this material within the project. So you're looking at a change order of about $26,000, just under that. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to C, ratify the approval of a support amendment with Tyler Technologies for the new WorldCAD RMS system for the police department. This is tied to the switching over the CAD system. It's not scheduled to go live until November. We're hoping this new system would be in place before the support ended for the existing system, but that did not happen. So this just basically extends support for the existing system through December. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to D, ratify the approval of an engagement letter with William E. Maddock Jr., LLC, for legal services related to the Charles DeWeese Construction Incorporated bankruptcy. We discussed a little bit of this situation earlier with the executive session, and so this is just to ratify that agreement for legal services. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to E, ratify the approval of a business associate agreement with RX Benefits Incorporated for services with respect to the city's health plan, protected health information, and electronic protected health information for prescriptions. And so this is basically, it's in order to complete our annual audit. Important information is needed from RX Benefits Incorporated for our auditors, and so we've been working with that and to get that taken care of. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to F, approve purchase agreement with Blue Streak Canine LLC to purchase a new canine dog for the police department. This is exactly as it sounds. It's purchasing a new canine unit. This canine unit replaces Little Mike, who is retiring next Thursday. And so it's a new canine unit. Does anyone have any questions?
Is that gonna be another Arkansas dog?
It is. Hera.
Do we know the dog's name?
Hera.
Hera.
What is it?
Hera. Hera.
Oh, okay. I didn't know we was that far along.
Okay. Moving on to H, approve a memorandum of understanding for non-credit instruction with Motlow State Community College for advanced emergency medical training, technician training for the fire department. This is just like that sounds. It's AEMT training for 12 of our employees with the fire department. This will allow the students to test and obtain their AEMT licenses. And so this is a budgeted item. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to I, approve proposal for CyberGuard for Cisco Secure Network Analytics and Vulnerability Detection and Reporting Services. This, just like it sounds, is monitoring our network on a daily basis for signs of attempted intrusions. It makes recommendations on security, performs regular internal and external intrusion testing to see if people can get into our system. And then it also creates a cyber incident response plan. You may have seen in the news over the last couple of years, like different things like ransomware, locks up whole municipalities. This is to test our vulnerabilities and to monitor that and have a plan in place. So, Glenn, you want to add anything with this?
You got it all, sir.
Wonderful.
Mayor, we need to go back to G.
I did skip G. I apologize. We're going to go back over to that, and that's to approve police/patrol canine release waiver agreement with Lewis Powell for Canine Mike. And so, again, that's another one that's really just like it sounds. It authorizes little Mike to be released to Sergeant Powell, who has been his handler now for a number of years. Any questions on that? Hopping back over to J, approve addendum with Verizon Wireless to authorize the city to participate in the Verizon Device Trade-In Program. This is just where Verizon offers a trade-in program where the city can trade in cell phones removed from service for age or failure and receive a credit on our monthly bill. Does anyone have any questions? K, approved contract with Nashville Party Authority for DJ services for the Zombie Night on Saturday, October 22nd, 2022. This was a big hit last year, and a lot of people came out, so it's coming back again. This is a budgeted item. It's $600 for DJing services for that evening. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to L, approve Parks and Recreation facility use agreement with Lovely Lavish Ladies, LLC, to conduct a dance and majorette program at the multi-purpose building. So this is just a facility use agreement with this group, the ability to basically allow them to use that facility Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5:45 until 7:45, and agreement is for an hourly rate with them. Does anyone have any questions? Steve, I look forward to seeing you down there.
I'll be there.
M, approved grant contract with Arts Build Communities Designated Agency, Greater Nashville Regional Council, for a community mural project. This is a grant that was obtained by our grant writer, Kamisha, and it is a 60/40 grant. The total grant is $3,390. The city's responsibility will be about $1,356, and just like it sounds, this is for a mural project here in the city. So does anyone have any questions?
Do we know where or just?
Well, I know I've said for quite a while, I want to see a mural right here on the side of City Hall celebrating our diversity. So this will probably go before the Arts and Beautification Committee, and let them have some conversations and kind of make a recommendation to us and go from there. Next, we have approved professional service agreement with Capital Recovery Systems Incorporated to provide debt collection services for the Laverne City Court. This is one we've been after for a while because the court is supposed to have had a group that does debt collection, and for whatever reason it hasn't for quite a while, so we've been after and interviewing different ones. This is for Capital Recovery Systems. The city will receive the full amount of debts owed to the city, and the vendor will be paid using an additional 30% fee that they use to collect on each of these claims. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to O, approved contract with the Tennessee Department of Transportation for the Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Grant, the CMAC Grant. This is the $2.6 million grant for sidewalks with Murfreesboro Road. It has been a long time coming. I know they hit us after telling us we were approved for this grant, that we needed to get them an air quality report. And then, of course, throughout COVID, that slowed down quite a bit of their process. But the estimated cost for this is $2,761,900. The city's share of that is $86,150. So this is a amazing grant for the city, and give us some sidewalks and crosswalks on major thoroughfares. So
Finally.
yes. And then P, approved proposal from Civil and Environmental Consultants, CEC, for PS4 Compliance Support. This is something that we do each year. It's just revising our stormwater ordinances and regulations to be in compliance with the 2022 TDEC Small Municipal Separate Storm Sewer Permit. And so there is a couple fees. There's a total fee of $15,500 with Task 1. Task 2 is kind of a daily rate. One-person crew is about $1,200. Two-person crew is about $24. But Task 2 will only be as a kind of as needed. But does anyone have any questions about this? Seeing none, we're going to move on to new business. First reading ordinance 2022-20, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2021-2022 senior citizen fund budget. So this amendment accounts for COVID supplies not budgeted and overage on the kitchen remodel. Total expense is $6,000. It's a decrease to the senior fund balance after that, after an additional expenses listed. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to 7, first reading ordinance 2022-21, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2022-2023 general fund budget. And so this is for some additional items such as a truck for Parks and Rec, some LED lights for the tennis court that we talked about earlier, an increase in the license plate reader is included in this, some ball league expenses not budgeted due to a change in direction, that sort of thing. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to number 8, first reading ordinance 2022-22, an ordinance to amend Title 20, Chapter 1 of the Laverne Municipal Code regarding alarm systems. And so the amendment is to Section 20-108, and it adds that it is unlawful for any person to knowingly or unknowingly activate an alarm system. The amendment to Section 20-109 adds the words "or his designee" to reference the police chief as well, to their designee. Does anyone have any questions about this? Number 9, Resolution 2022-21, a resolution of the City of Laverne Board of Mayor and Aldermen to declare property owned by the city to be surplus to the city's needs and directing disposal of the same. This is, you're looking at a couple different items this month. We've got a line printer, ink cartridges, and paper from the water billing department, a lot of used batteries from battery backups with IT, various computers and desk phones, computer parts and components from IT. And then we also have to officially list in here Little Mike, our K-9 unit. So does anyone have any questions? Moving on to number 10, Resolution 2022-22, a resolution authorizing the City of Laverne to participate in the Public Entity Partners James L. Richardson Driver Safety Matching Grant Program. This grant will reimburse the city $5,000 in a 50-50 match. So does anyone have any questions on this? I know this is one that comes up regularly. Moving on to number 11, approved purchase and sale agreement with Trinidad Benham Corporation for the Public Works facility located at 148 International Boulevard. In compliance with the LOI that was approved by the board earlier this year, this is the actual purchase and sale agreement for that facility. The sale price is still $1.5 million. There's a leaseback provision in there. Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none. Moving on to number 12, motion to declare default and terminate contract with Charles DeWeese Construction and to authorize city officials to take such action as they deem appropriate to protect the city's interest and to complete the 24-inch water main from Stones River Road roundabout to the water treatment plant. This was discussed in our executive session. Is there any questions?
No questions, but is this, I was gonna wait till all mayor and alderman comments, but is this the proper time that maybe we can talk about to the folks watching at home and what's going on, or wait till the end?
This would be an appropriate time. Essentially, as it's already out there publicly, we've discussed, several of us have in the community, that the Charles DeWeese Company, who was awarded this contract, has gotten a portion of it done down Stones River Road, but then they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which is a basically reorganization protecting themselves. So the city has looked into the surety bond that was put in place to make sure that this is finished regardless of that company's situation. So to basically get this process moving forward so that our residents don't have to keep dealing with all of these delays in this road situation, this is being put before the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to go ahead and terminate that contract and then move forward with getting the surety bond to finish that project and get that whole area repaved. And so this is the fastest way, so to say, for us to get this moving. So, Vice Mayor No, do you want to add anything?
I do. I want to make sure there's no questions about it. After speaking with the attorneys earlier, this is going to be a minimum of 90 days. There's absolutely nothing that can be done. No work can be done. No road paving can be done. Nothing. It's not the city's fault. Those the people that did it came in, and I asked. They came in very, very highly reputable. Unfortunately, things for one reason or another went south. But our attorney team is, after we vote Tuesday night, I'm assuming, is going to go to work. But just so the citizens know, what you see out there is what you get for right now. Now, because until this is all over, we can't do anything. We can't even go back and pave it, because it's my understanding that before paving can begin, it would have to be dug back up and rechecked before anything can be done. So this bankruptcy's got the city in a hot mess, with that road out there. So if anybody asks, folks watching at home, so you don't hear no rumors, the city had nothing to do with it. Those people are protected. Evan, is that the proper wording?
Yes, sir. As long as they're in bankruptcy court, we can't do anything with it.
That's correct. As long as they're in bankruptcy court, they're protected. There's nothing we can do. So we're at their mercy.
That's one of the good things with the city having a surety bond on this project is that we can ensure that it will be finished.
Yeah, it will definitely get done. It's just not going to happen right now.
Any other questions or comments on this? Moving on to number 13, appoint or remove board and committee members. A, the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. We have one term vacant, which is the county commission position that David Gammon was in, and we will need to appoint another commissioner to this position on Tuesday night. We have, I believe, 4 new commissioners now representing Laverne. We've got Carl Boyd, Phil Wilson, Laura Davidson, and Hope Oliver. So we will have those to choose from for this position, and I'm sure there'll be some conversations with each of them to find someone interested. With that, moving on to Mayor and Alderman comments. Alderman Coates?
I'd like to say, hope everyone enjoys their long holiday weekend.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Waldron?
I know we in September, but check on the elderly and make sure your pets has got fresh water and shade, and watch out for the school buses. They're out every morning, and be watchful for the kids on the side of the road waiting for the school bus. When you're heading to work, the kids is there, and sometimes in the mornings the sun's glaring through your windshield. Be careful for the kids and the school buses. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor No.
I got 2 things, Mr. Mayor. The first one is I'd like for everybody to remember David McGowan. His sister passed away the other day. The viewing is tomorrow, and the funeral. Now, this last one will be a little bit lengthy. I've always considered, since I got into this, that I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I'm in the drawer. And I always try to think before I say anything, because I like for it to process, and I don't want to sound like a babbling fool. But I've had a month to think about this. But last month, because it's becoming election time, and it's going to get ugly. But Alderman Waldron had talked about if their mouth is moving, they're lying, the politics. I'd like to remind Mr. Waldron that he's been a politician about 15 years longer than any of us. And also, he said, don't drink the Kool-Aid. I want everybody to know that Mayor Cole's supporters, we drink sweet tea. That's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Do also want to ask you all to also remember the Gunn family. Their mother passed away earlier today, and of course, David McGowan's family. That's always a big deal. Labor Day is this weekend, so please, everyone, please be responsible, drive safely. I know our police have been out there not just with the holiday, but on every day out working on ensuring that we have safe roads and conditions. So thank you, Chief Davis and your team for all of that. With that, call this meeting adjourned.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about